This is Jackie.
And this is Heather.
And welcome to
Millennial Mom Chatter, your go-to podcast for candid conversations and fresh perspectives.
We're just two millennial moms navigating life one hilarious audio message at a time. Join us for laughs, adventures, and real talk. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode with Heather and I on Millennial Mom Chatter. We're so happy to be chatting with all of you again. How have you been, Heather? What's been going on?
Good. Just got back from the hospital for my dad. That's my new life lately. And for those of you that I feel like I've mentioned that my dad is in the hospital, but long story short, it kind of will sum everything up, is that my dad has ALS. He's struggled with it for 18 years. And we are just like kind of now nearing the ending of like his symptoms are like very bad. So anyways, that's been kind of been my life lately, is going to the hospital and like sitting with him while my mom leaves or whatever. So fine though. I'm really annoyed by the rain, but it's fine.
Oh, have you guys been getting a lot of rain?
Nonstop, like every day. Like literally, if you look at the forecast for the next week, it's just like thunderstorm signs.
Dang.
And it's been like that for, I want to say, a month now. Like literally on the dot every day, rains.
Dang,
all
that's
day.
I feel like that's not typical, right?
No.
Like we're in September now. I feel like that's not
No,
normal going into fall,
Yeah.
Southern Florida
No,
weather.
July and August, it's very common to rain, like normal. But like September, like towards the end of August, September, like it'll rain here and there. But like I'm talking about like every single day.
Dang. I wonder if it has something to do with that hurricane that's like rolling it, like if it's bringing some sort of like pressure.
No, because it's so far.
Yeah, I
Like,
guess
it's
that
in
is
Mexico.
far. All the way over in Louisiana. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's been happening for a very long time now. But other than that, it's great. You know, the same cycle of homework. And we got an email from, well, first off, Rylan got in the car yesterday and he's like, you're going to get an email from us. I guess I won't say her name. Not that it matters, but from his teacher. And I'm like, why? And he's like, well, because all the kids in the class are being disruptive and like saying memes that they see from YouTube and like making jokes all day. And I'm like, okay, is that you? And he's like, no. And I was like, okay. So we're going to get an email. He's like, yep, she said she was going to email. So, okay. So we got a thing on Remind that like basically she kind of worded it very nice, but like basically the kids have been a little bit wild and those parents that she needs to contact will be contacted. And so again, I was like, are you going to be one of them? And he's like, no, I don't say anything, which is true. He's very quiet at school. And I'm like, okay, you better not. And he's like, it's not me. And so of course, me being my like, you know, I'm not Hispanic, but it's like the Hispanic in me is like, what's the cheese? Who is it? Who's doing that in class? And he's like, oh, everyone, all the boys. And I was like, okay. And I'm like, and the girls? And he's like, most. And he's like,
Dang.
I don't even know what they're saying. And I was like, what are they saying? And I think it's kind of like, I don't know. Like, I really can't think of like, for example, I know I'm like dragging on right now, but like maybe the teacher says something about like Swift and like, oh, Taylor Swift, and like just interrupting like comebacks to her, like just making comments about whatever she says. And so he's like, I don't know, they're just like say stuff from YouTube. And like, you know me, I don't let my kids watch YouTube. Yeah. So he's like, I have no idea what they're talking about.
And yeah, like, and I have no idea what, and that's why I'm like, we need the tea. I need the tea because my kids aren't old enough to like be caught up in the cool like lingo and like what's going on the interweb. So I'm just
so I told him this was a good learning lesson. I told him, I said, okay, do you see why we don't let you watch YouTube? Because it melts your brain. Mm-hmm. Look at all these kids that are watching YouTube and now they're all getting in trouble because they can't just behave.
Yeah.
So we're already starting to see like this is the age where you start to see like they're just not like little kids like, you know, like behaving bad. They're like becoming like teenagers and like
they're learning their own habits because they have more alone time at that age too. Yeah. Like I find that like we are around our kids more often when they're younger, but as they get older, they have like their own interests. Like they're going to disappear to their rooms. So I could see that being very easy for them to like,
and parents are not on top of it.
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm just like more proof, Jackie, don't let your kids watch YouTube because now I'm like, it was a good learning lesson. Like you see how everyone that watches YouTube is getting in trouble. Yeah. It's melting their brain. And
Mhm.
he's like,
I mean, we know this, like, just we as adults have our social media, and we see a lot of stuff on there. So it just is like it reiterates
YouTube is
kind of
social
that.
media now.
Yes. So the fact that, like, now we can see this for ourselves, I really don't want my kids on it. Like social media stuff like that, where it's not an episode of Bluey. It's literally stuff that people are putting on there, and it's not meant for our kids to be viewing. It's not meant for their brains to understand.
Mhm.
So I'm just like, whatever we can do to like keep them trapped inside this little nest for
Yep.
as long as possible, like to
And
not be exposed to it.
I tell people, like, when I, because there's a lot of people, like, there's barely anyone that doesn't let their kids watch YouTube. I feel like I don't come across many. And I'm always like, it's not about sometimes once in a blue moon, Jax would be like, I can't beat this game. Like,
Mm.
can I look up how to beat this boss or something? So
Of
I
course,
look
yeah.
it up, I put it
Yeah.
on the screen in front of me, and then when I'm like, you got it? And he's like, yeah. And then he goes away. Because the
Yeah.
problem is, it's not so much with whatever video they start with, it's the recommended. And
Yes,
then
it's what comes next,
yeah,
and it just goes and
and it
goes and goes downhill.
spirals. It
Yeah.
spirals because then you get in this deep hole, like, where
Mhm.
it slowly is inching away from what you were watching, and then who knows what they're watching.
Exactly, yep, because the boys always love looking at, like, same thing, like Minecraft
Yeah.
stuff and Lego stuff, so then they like to look up because you can look up this is a tip for the parents too, if you ever lose the instruction manuals from Lego, you can actually, like, type in the model number
Hmm.
of whatever the creation was, and there's the full instructions online. So they always, like, look up creative stuff on YouTube for, like, building something new, and I'm always like, "What was that? Let me see that. What did you type in?
Yeah.
What popped up? Like, let me scroll."
Yeah.
Like, so
100%.
because there's just wild. Social media, YouTube, all of it's just getting crazy now.
Yeah, because
Like,
at the end of the day, that's what it is. Like, YouTube has become, it's not just like before. I feel like you could only, like, not when we grew up, but like when we were teens or whatever, YouTube was like, as it was starting to come out, was where you just found like a music video or
I
like,
know I was just when you just said
yeah.
that, I was like, "What did I do with YouTube 10 years ago?" And it was just music videos.
Yeah, it's like a music video or like you missed somebody's performance at the Grammys
Yeah.
or whatever it was. But now it's just like anything and everything.
Anything and everything.
And
Yeah.
now that shorts have come out, even more
Yeah.
anything and everything. Now you've become like, now you have YouTube merged with like an Instagram or TikTok.
For sure. Yeah.
And so I'm like, nope. There's a reason why I'm not giving my kid a phone because,
Yeah.
by the way, we get the Trumi phone today. I told you
Oh,
about that? I ended up getting it
okay.
because I've like, obviously, you know this. I've started to kind of like leave them home a little bit more out of time and stuff. And so, like, I realized it's fine. They can call me technically on the iPad because, like, when I leave, I'm like, this is the iPad. Call me. Like, there's nothing on the iPad, like, app wise, really, that they don't know the password, all that kind of stuff. So it's very,
Yeah.
like, restricted. But I'm like, call, FaceTime me on the iPad if you need. But then I realized, like, dude, they would never be able to call like 911 or
No.
like nothing.
"Mommy, can you call 911 for us? The house is on fire."
Yeah, and I was thinking like worst case scenario. Well, first off, we got a fire extinguisher recently, which is like so why
And you guys are
recently?
firefighting
Yeah.
family, so it's, like, so funny.
Well, why recently? I don't know. We should have had one our whole life, but whatever, it's okay. And the fire blanket that I have, I bought like a year ago, remember?
Yes,
Did I give you one
yes.
or Tony one?
No, you were gonna give it to I'm trying to remember
Jason?
because you bought it for the guys. I think you ended up giving it to Jason because 'cause you're
Yeah,
like,
but
"This is such a
I thought it came
firefighter
with
gift."
3. I thought I gave one to Tony. I didn't?
Maybe you did. Actually, maybe you did.
I
I
thought I
feel
gave
like I
one to
remember seeing it on top of, like, the Lego kit,
I
so
think it was
maybe one came
Tony,
to our family
Alvaro,
too.
and Jason. I got
Yeah,
3, I think.
yeah,
So anyways, if it wasn't for me, we wouldn't even have a fire blanket. But
yes. Looking
I
out
t-
for our safety. Heather's the real MVP here.
I told I was like, so like if our house burned down because we had nothing to save it, we would look terrible. But
Yeah,
it's fine. The firefighter's house burned down because it started
yeah,
with like a little fire, but we couldn't put it out.
yeah, you guys are just like
Whatever. So, anyways, I got a fire extinguisher and I told him like we should teach the kids how to use it. Not that it's rocket science, but teach the kids how to use
no.
it.
To give them confidence because it's scary.
Yeah.
Like, like, the pressure on it is scary for a little kid,
Yeah.
like
So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm probably gonna end up clearing Jax's because I don't even know if you know this, which I don't think if somebody broke into our house, I don't think they would know this either. Under Jax's bed is like all storage,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
like
I did know that
like
because for toys in there. Like
almost our whole family could fit under there.
Yeah.
So I was gonna like kind of go through a run through like, hey, if something ever happens, you hear weird noises, like I'm gonna because right now it has like
It's your gift wrapping spot.
it's what it's meant to be used for storage. But I
Yeah.
want to just like empty it so it's like a place for us them to like hide if they need it. Or like
Yeah.
even if Alvaro's not home and like I need to go with the kids because the
Yeah.
reality is if somebody were to break in and we went in there, no one would know we were in there.
No.
So anyways, I was having these conversations and I'm like, you like we need to teach them where to go if there's like a fire, and then we need to have a phone available to them to like call 911 or like whatever. We shouldn't just have to be FaceTiming them.
And then it's also great too, I know we talked about this, that if your eldest goes on, like, a play date, he can have that device with him to, like, say, "Mommy, I need to come home," or
Yeah.
something. Like,
Well,
it could be, like,
it's not
great
so
for
much
if he's, like,
play
riding the bike
dates
around the
as
neighborhood by himself or
yeah.
something, like
He goes to youth right now at our church. And so like I always have to text one of the people and I'm like, hey, let me know
Mm.
when it's done. So now he can just tell
Oh,
me like,
okay.
hey, I'm ready to go home. So the only time the phone will be out, and I didn't even say it's his phone because it's technically not. But
It's the family's phone.
yeah, I don't want him to go around and be like, I have a phone because like he doesn't. So it's completely locked. So I'll have it locked just to like text to us and phone calls. And then he'll have it when we leave the house and I'll give it to him on youth nights. That's it. That's the
No, it's smart, I
restrictions.
think that's great, yeah.
When he gets in high school, that same phone will end up being his phone that I can lock to however I want. And then he
Yeah,
can slowly unlock it to, have a normal phone. It's just an Android. It's a Samsung.
yeah. Like, once he starts learning to drive or if he's got after school activities, he
Exactly.
can be
No,
like,
he's in
"I'm
high school.
done.
Yeah.
This is great." Like,
Yeah.
it's a good idea.
So, anyways, I got it and it comes today. I'll let you know how it goes because I'm really curious. Like, I can see online like how you can lock it and all that kind of stuff, but like I'm curious what it really looks like in person,
Yeah, yeah,
or
of
like what it
course.
does if you try to do something, or like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so curious. So, anyways, that'll be a new adventure. So I need
No,
to
it's
get to
exciting.
safety planning in my house. it's
All
so
the things,
it's
right?
so funny how we don't think like. Have you ever done like this is our spot if there's a fire, or
No.
I know,
Mm-mm.
I
And,
know.
Liam is actually the first one that brought it up because they did, like, a fire safety plan. He drew like, everyone had to draw their house, and so he did that, and he was like, "Oh, like, this is what they told me to do because my bedroom's on the 2nd floor." And so I was like, "Oh, how interesting," because we've never talked about that, but that's cool that your school is, like, helping you prepare. I was like, "Good for you, buddy. You're the only one that survives in our family because we have no plan." Like,
Yeah.
I shouldn't laugh, but yeah, it's like the reality of it. Because I feel like also we just move all the time, so I feel like I just never get around to it, if that makes sense. But
It's
now
just
that my
not
kids are
something we think
older,
about.
no, and when they're young, right? Like when your baby's sleeping in the crib, like my first instinct would be go get the baby out of the crib and run outside. But now they're all of our children are old enough and self-sufficient enough to be like, "Oh, something's going on. Do I leave? Do I go outside? Do I
Gosh,
call
no, I
somebody?"
can see
Like they
you're like,
have
"Come on."
legs.
And
Like
they're like, "What?" And you're
yeah.
like, "Hurry."
They're like, Grab my Switch, grab my Hot Wheels." Like,
I could
what about where's my axolotl?
I could see you trying to wake Dylan up and emerge, and he's like, "What, mommy?
Yeah, I don't want to go to school. Like,
Don't touch me."
yeah, the house is on fire. We need to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I it's definitely something that like a lot of parents, including myself, lack.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, it has to do think with like the stages too, right? Like our kids, we just left the baby stage
Mhm,
of them needing us still.
mhm.
So like the fact that like they technically would need to run out of a house by themselves, this is a new chapter for us. We just left the stage of like pick up your kid and run.
I don't know if I would
Whereas
say
like we
just
are their
left,
protector.
but
Yeah. I'm
that's
gonna
a
give
little
us grace
gentle.
here.
That's
I'm
a
giving us
little
a little bit of a
gentle.
buffer. Like
You're like 5
our
years ago.
youngest. Yeah, like our youngest, I feel like technically I would still have to like grab him. Probably. What it is, of course, like
Personality-wise, yes, you would have to grab him. Like Liam at 6, not so much.
yeah,
But yeah.
he would follow suit, yeah.
Yeah, but that's just personality. Same thing as like we always have that kid that's gonna question us, you know?
Yeah. Like, "Is this for real? Are you waking me up for a
No, or
real
they don't even
reason?"
know what you're waking up. They're just like, "Stop it!"
Yeah,
And you're like, "Shut up!"
yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
"Fine, I'll just leave you here.
Yeah,
You'll learn. You're gonna learn today." Like,
yeah. So get a fire extinguisher and make a plan, Jackie,
that's the public service announcement from your family.
and everyone else listening. Make a plan.
Yeah, yeah.
But most importantly is just get a fire extinguisher. I think, like, I got it for, like, $50 and it's a big one because, like,
Oh, that's good.
I feel like there's nothing worse than if you run out and the fire's almost out, but it's not out.
Oh, yeah, yeah. When you have, like, the little ones, yeah.
Yeah. So I got like a I don't know how much it is, 60 cubic square feet. I don't know, something. Anyways,
That's pretty good though, because I
it's
think
like
the little ones
it's
are
like a
only meant to be like
15
a little
pound.
kitchen fire,
Yeah,
I
it's like
think, is
15
what
or
they,
20
like,
pounds.
say they quote how much they can handle or
Yeah.
whatever.
So I got like
So that's good.
I want to say it's like 20 pounds and it fits under the sink because obviously that's like we don't have like a furnace or like
Mm.
anything that's gas run. So like unless something is like really weird that happened, like a one-off situation, like most likely the fire would come from the kitchen.
Yes, yep.
So anyways, we did that. So I think I paid like $55.
That's not bad for the safety of your home
Yeah.
long term.
We
Because don't
cannot
they last for a good amount of time?
Oh
Like, they
yeah.
have expiration on the
Oh
top?
yeah.
They're not it's not next month, so
No, no years and
it's gonna be
years.
worth it. Yeah.
So I took that step so a fireman's house does not burn down at some point. That's
No
embarrassing.
embarrassing stories, like
But how have you been? That was very long.
no, it's okay.
How have you been?
Well, I have a public service announcement as well. I just
Oh.
went and got my skin checked at the dermatologist's
Oh,
office.
nice.
So I feel like I'm on top of it. I'm getting all of my like this is my thing is like typically I don't know if other moms are like this as well, but I do all the things for the kids. Like they go to the dentist, they go to the pediatrician,
Yeah, during the
they
summer.
go and like get all their things done, but I don't. So like when we went to the
Mm.
optometrist was like, "We were trying to find your history, but like it goes so far back. Like, did you not go?" And I was like, "No. I haven't been in years." Like and it's just they laughed because they're like, it's true. Like, unless you have a vision problem, like, why would you ever come back in here? And like, especially with the kids, like, you just don't, it gets put on the back burner, like dentist, all that stuff. So I've been like checking all my boxes for all of my doctor's appointments. So I went and finally got a skin check and it was great. Like, I was like, this is informative. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, well, I don't have skin cancer. So why should I go? But they check everything. Like, it's not just a mole for skin cancer. Like, they can touch base with like acne or a rash or eczema, like all of that. They can kind
Yeah.
of like, they then know like this is your place mark for maybe next year. We can see if something grows, gets worse, like gets lighter, darker, whatever it is. So I was just like, wow, like this is great. Like, why have I not done this sooner? And then skin cancer is one of those things that just like kind of comes out of nowhere. Like you
Yeah.
really don't know until a doctor like looks at
And they
it. So
didn't
I
take
feel like
anything off?
no, yeah, she
Wow.
was like, she
Impressive.
has one that she like left as like a we're gonna keep
Maybe.
an eye on it,
Mhm.
but because it's not weird in any way, she's like, there's no reason for me to like cause harm to like cut this out at this point because she's like, I don't see any like huge indicators, so she's like, I'll just leave it alone, and then next year we'll see if it does anything as far as like lines changing,
Yeah.
colors, anything like that. Because I've had two moles removed and they came back like benign, like non-cancerous. So like she's just like, I'm gonna leave it alone for now. So
Yeah.
I was like, yay. I was like, I'm
Gosh, I don't know if I
happy.
ever have gone to the dermatologist and not gotten something taken off. Maybe one time. But even as
Hmm.
a kid, I just think it's my
Oh,
parent like I think it's I don't know if our dermatologist is a little over like
and they could be. I know that there are some that are like that. They'd rather just err on the side of caution and
yeah.
cut everything
Yeah.
versus waiting and then
Yes.
cutting. Like
Yes. And I think she maybe errs on that side, but I've gone to her forever and I'm just like whatever.
harm, to just get them go ahead and biopsied right away. Like
Yeah, and
it's not a big deal.
like my dad's side of the family, like everyone has had cancerous things removed.
Yeah.
So it's I find it's like either in your bloodline or it's not kind of,
Yeah, and
like
that's what she said too. She was
yeah.
like, since she's like, that's really good that your mom pestered you to go take care of yourself because like it is in your family line. So it eventually could happen to you as
Mhm.
well. Like the likelihood is there.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know. So I'm just happy that I'm taking the right steps because like, why not take care of it when I'm younger
Mhm.
and when my skin can heal nicely versus waiting a long time and then potentially to cut a bigger chunk of skin or whatever ends up being the
Yeah.
case. So I was like, okay, like this is better. I'm taking the steps one every year now. I'm going to stay on top of
Good
it.
job.
It's going to be
Good
in my
job.
calendar like a dentist appointment. Like,
I go Monday actually.
oh, really?
And I'm going to
Nice.
get
Look
the
at you.
I'm I don't want to be negative, but I feel like I'm going to walk out with stitches again because
Oh, that's right. Cause
my
he
calf one.
cuts, they cut out, right? They don't stamp you.
No, no, no,
Do
they
they
do
cut or,
stamp.
oh, okay.
But
But they
remember
go
my
deep.
calf one.
Ah,
My
that's right.
calf one,
You
I'm
did tell me about that one.
chunked out and they've done like 3 stitches or something like that, which by the way, stitches on your calf is a mother. Like, because you're constantly flexing it,
Yeah.
and so every time you flex it, you feel the stitch go like, and it just is like brutal. Like I
I never
felt
thought about that. That's not like a fleshy part of our body, like,
there's
where
no give.
it's not like our arm where it's smushy, like,
Well,
where
there's
you
no
kind of feel
give to
like
the skin.
yeah.
'Cause it already they chunked out a lot. So when they, like, pieced it together, it was already, like, tight, and then it's on your calf. Your calf, like, doesn't have, like, skin you can grab. Like, it's
Mm-mm.
tight. It's
No.
taut, I guess the word is. So anyways, it I can't tell if it's, like, just a scar or if it's, like, weird looking. You get what I'm saying?
Was it a mole before?
What do you
Like, is it
consider
growing
what
back?
do you consider a mole?
Like, anything
Like,
because remember, moles
raised?
don't have to be brown,
Like,
like, brown they
raised,
can
you
be like
mean?
yeah,
No,
yeah.
I don't have anything raised on my body. It was just a freckle.
Okay. Oh, okay. Because like, I know moles can grow back. So, like,
Yeah.
they can do a punch out and take it and biopsy it, and then if they don't go deep enough, like, it's still there, and it'll eventually, like it can the same mark will basically just reappear
No,
because the cells are
so
still there.
they punched out or not she doesn't punch it out. She doesn't punch everything out. She razors it when she tests it. So it's
Oh,
like she
okay.
just razors it and solders it. So it's like quick and
Okay.
easy. But then this one she punched out first, and
Mm.
then she could tell when they tested it that there wasn't enough board like, it was still in the borders, and it was, like,
Oh, okay.
cancerous or whatever. So then she went in and took big chunk of it out. So, like, I don't think it could grow back, but then I still look at it and I'm like, I can't tell if it's, like, just a weird scar or if, like it's definitely not a mole by all means or
Or it's,
like a
like, growing
freckle.
back.
Yeah. But it's just weird looking, but it might just
Yeah,
be,
it could
like,
just be the way that you're
scarring.
scarring. Yeah. It's probably super weird,
Yeah.
like you said, but there's not extra tissue like it would be on our arm or our belly or something like that. So I feel
Yeah.
like the calf is the
Yeah.
that's a tricky spot.
So we're going with Rylan too, because Rylan, when he was like 5, he got the mole off his, which I say a mole, but it's not. It's like a freckle, I guess. I don't know what you consider. I always think of a mole as like raised.
No, it doesn't moles are flat. They surface they don't have to be
So what's the
raised.
difference between a mole and a freckle?
I think, a dermatologist can tell you the difference because like, their freckles are usually, like, the tiny little like, I like to think of, like, comparable to the ones that girls have on their faces, right? Like, when we have, like, our little
So
tiny
like
cute
these aren't
sunspots.
freckles?
I would say that you can have freckles on your arms too, the tiny cute ones, and then I would say I don't know, we'd have to, like, look that up and get a
I
dermatologist
thought
in here,
moles were
but
raised.
moles don't always have no, because I have that's the one spot she wants to keep an eye on. It's a mole, and it's flush, and it's super tiny.
Mm.
So, like, moles don't have to technically be, like, what we're thinking of, like, the old witchy ladies with,
Yeah.
like, this giant thing on her face with
Which
hair
some
sticking
people
out
do
of it.
have that.
Yeah, they do, but not all moles
Yeah.
are like these monsters. They can be flesh colored, they can be 3D, they can be flat, dark, light, all sorts of things. So I think that's why the dermatologists like to do skin checks because we have no idea what we're looking at on our
Yeah.
own
No.
bodies.
Well, Rylan, I guess let's just say it's a mole. I don't know. He had one on his arm that I want to say he was born with it. And it was always kind of like, that's interesting looking. And so we ended up taking him when he was like 4 or 5, and they ended up cutting a big chunk of it out. And or no, maybe they tested it first and they said it was cancerous. So then they just removed the whole thing. And yeah. So
Oh, so
I
he's getting his check as well then.
so I'm going there not for that, but like I guess it doesn't hurt. But he has like that typical preteen, the bumpy arms.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So he needs like the glycerol what is it? Is it glycerin or
I
whatever it
don't know,
is
but
where
I'm
they
like, it's
exfoliates the
getting
surface of the skin?
so bad. I'm talking about
Yeah.
it's starting to cover his chest and his back.
Ah.
Like you can tell
They're
it's
probably gonna prescribe
hormonal.
him, like, a good exfoliant of
Yeah.
some sort, like some sort of acidic something, because there's so many products
Yeah.
nowadays to help
He needs a
exfoliate the surface
peel.
of his skin. Yeah, he's gonna get a vitamin C peel for
But
free.
he's like, I didn't care so much in his arms, but it's like now spread to his forearms. Now it's on his
Mm.
chest. And it's probably like the spike in hormones. I know it's very common, but I'm just like, we need to get you something. Like
Yeah.
this is annoying. Cause I've tried to do where he scrubs it and then we put like this bumpy cream on it and it does
Mhm.
help a little, but I just feel like it's spreading and I'm just like, we need to get it under control. So I'm going to be going to the dermatologist too on Monday.
That's good. Get everyone
Get
taken care
everyone
of, all of the
checked.
things. Yeah, for
Um,
sure. That's great.
Have you watched the Mormon show that everyone's
At the Mormon
raving about?
I know, it's honestly been all over my social media, and I wasn't very familiar with these girls because I never really followed them. Have you ever followed them on any of them, on any
Nope.
of the social media platforms? Apparently, they got famous by doing, like, cute dances and stuff on TikTok back in the day.
Mhm.
So they kinda had, like, a following just for being, like, cute Utah girls, and I kind of just saw that, and that's all that I knew until kinda, like, the scandal trickled down. I didn't really know much about the show. I thought it was gonna be, like, a documentary describing
That's what I thought
the
too.
scandal. And then I had some girlfriends that mentioned that it's kind of, like, filmed in the style of, like, The Kardashians or Real Housewives.
Hmm.
So then I was like, "Interesting. Well, so many people are talking about this, and they're, like, shocked by some of the things that they're doing." I was like, "Let me just see." So I started it. I haven't finished it yet, but it is very interesting because what I found to be the most interesting was that they're Mormon, so they practice a lot of things, like, such as not consuming caffeine or alcohol, but then they do a lot of things that contradict that, I feel
Like
like.
sleep
So
with each
that
other's
was
husbands.
yeah, exactly. So there's, like, scandal with affairs, like, sexualization of things, and just, like, little things like who drinks alcohol in the group and who doesn't. But then, like, what I found to be very interesting was, like, they refuse to put these toxins in their body, caffeine and alcohol and drugs, but then they go and get Botox and peels, and they go and consume laughing gas before they have their Botox injections. And so I'm just like, well, isn't that basically the same type of sensation as then consuming
Mhm.
alcohol or drugs? Like, doesn't that kind of make you a hypocrite? Like, if you're trying to like skirt the lines of
Yeah.
your religion to like claim that you're like pure and clean and, following the word. So I just thought that was really
Also, like,
interesting.
what world do you live in that you feel like you need to avoid? Let's not even bring in alcohol or drugs into the picture. Let's just like purely talk about like caffeine. Let's just say, what world do you live in that you're like, I can't have caffeine because of like morals and my values and what my religion says, but then you can go like have sexcapades.
Yeah.
Like what like where's the logic? You know what I mean?
There isn't any, and I think
Like
that's why so many people are so interested in the show is because they're trying to understand it, because we're used to it with Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Mhm.
We're used to it when we
They're
watch The
savage people
Kardashians.
though, we know
Yeah,
that.
we already know
Yeah.
that. Like, so we already know that they consume alcohol, that
Yeah.
they might have an affair, there's money and scandal, tax evasion. Like, we know these things are taking place, and they kind of break that down for us. But then they kind of like to the Momtok girls try to give this illusion of perfection, like white picket fence, you know, celibate only to, then only have relations with the husband. We're going to have our kids. We're going to do these things. We're not going to have toxins in our home. But then they do all these other things. And I'm just like, well, who are you fooling? Like, who is this for?
So, since you've watched a little bit of it, have you gotten to the part like, do they switch partners? Are they like just doing it all together?
They aren't doing it all together. It's only some of them are participating in these
Like
things. And you'll
swapping?
not necessarily, I don't know if they're swapping actually, because the husbands don't really want to be a part of this, which is so interesting because they're like almost embarrassed by it.
Uh,
I
uh,
don't know. I
y-
can't pinpoint.
Listen, you could, I don't know if you could pay me any amount of money. That's how you know they're messed up in the head. I don't think there's anything you could pay me that I would go on to national TV claiming I'm a Mormon and it all coming out that like we're all sleeping with each other and we're cheating on our husbands and all this kind of stuff. Like, I don't think you could pay me any amount. Could you?
No, and I honestly I'm surprised that they wanted to continue this because now there's like people saying like, "Hey, are they going to do a second season?" And I'm like, "Aren't you guys embarrassed?
So the
Like all
husbands
the stuff that you guys did." So one
aren't
of
on the
the
show?
girls, the main girl, the husbands are on the show, but they're not like they don't want to be like main characters. So they don't come and do the commentary kind of like where they sit on the couch and they're like, "Oh, today this is what she did." Like they try to kind of take like a step back from it and they show up to things like a baby shower. Like you'll see them there,
Mm,
but they aren't like the main characters. They don't
mm.
really like condone this in a way. Well, they didn't say that. I don't want to put like words out there, but they're just like not a part of it. And then some of them consume alcohol and some of them don't. Some of them have been a part of an affair and some of them really want to stick to their Mormon values. So you can kind of
But
see like
are
who's
they?
in and who's
Do you
not.
feel like
Like
the ones that are sticking to their values, do you feel like they're genuine and that like they are wholesome?
they really are trying to stick with it because they're chastising the people who aren't. So they're like, oh, he pulled out the shots. I don't want him to come to our baby blessing. Like, you see them where
But you
they're,
don't
like,
think
literally,
behind
like,
closed
building a
doors
wall.
they're in cahoots with all these people?
Maybe, I don't know.
Like,
Like,
what's the vibe
that's
you're
like, let
getting?
me watch this whole season and I'll get back to you because it's honestly, it's just been wild.
So
Like, for
no
me, I'm
one's
just like, "What
divorced
the
from
heck?"
this?
One of the girls is divorced.
Only one?
She
They
Yeah. So that's
survived?
yeah, and now she's pregnant with another
Surely
guy's
they
baby, but not married, and it's kind of interesting because then she goes and tells her parents, like, "Hey, I'm pregnant with this guy's baby, he's gonna move in," and they literally, like, flat out on the camera on the show, they're like, "So you knocked up my daughter, and you're not gonna marry her?" And, like, it's embarrassing because he pulls up in this raggedy pickup
Oh.
truck, goes and unloads his, like, 2 Amazon boxes, and the parents are sitting at the dining table, they're like, "Wow, this is the guy that impregnated our daughter, he has no furniture. He's literally just rolling up here with 2 cardboard boxes." Like, I'm literally like, "What is this show?" Like, who are these, like,
16 and
just
pregnant
not
means
Yeah, like, honestly, it's just, like, I think maybe I'm so used to, like, Beverly Hills Housewives or something, but these are just, like, it's just ratchet people, and I
Wow.
think that's why people are loving the show because it's so entertaining for, like, just being bizarre, like
I mean, okay, so on next week's podcast, we're gonna hear more from Jackie and the Mormons.
Yeah, we're gonna have a follow-up once I get some closure on all of these people because it's just
Yeah, I'm
yeah, and
excited for the
apparently
follow-up.
they're, like, writing trashy comments on each other's, like, social media too, like, even now after the
So they're
episodes are
just
airing.
trash people, let's be.
Yeah,
I
they're not
wanna
nice
see
girls.
them surely the Mormon Church has to make a statement about them, right?
Oh, I'd be curious to know what, like, the people of their
Because you
church,
have
like,
to
you know,
be
the
like
locals,
yeah,
like,
you
that
have
know
to
them.
be a member and, like, have a card, and you have to, like what's the word? Like, abide by the standards to have your membership in a sense, and so I just can't imagine they might not announce it, but I can't imagine they're a part of the church anymore.
Yeah. No,
Because
I would think that they would have been kicked out. Some sort of formal, "You should go ahead and resign from our
yeah,
family,
because
from our
now
church."
you're
Like
not just choose if you choose to, not that the Mormons think this, but even just from my standpoint, like if you choose to live like this and claim your whatever, like, and you choose to do it and go against what you're saying you believe, whatever. But now you're just going on a reality TV that's blowing up and now making like their whole religion look like a joke.
I know, that's, like, kind of the sad thing, though,
Yeah.
because it is really making the, like, Utah mom, the,
Yeah.
Mormon, like, aesthetic, it's starting to make it kind of look like trash, which is such a shame because that's not ever what people used to think of them. So
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Like, I don't
"Ooh."
agree with like some of the Mormon practices or their thoughts or whatever, but like they're genuinely nice people and overall they have good morals. Like I would want them to be my neighbors and I'd want them
Of
to
course, yeah.
but when you have people like this go on, it's just like
No, you don't want the girls of Momtok to be your neighbors.
really? Like really?
Like
Like do you really have to like that's the representation that everyone sees? Because
yeah.
the Mormons already have to battle the LDS, which is like technically
Mhm.
different. The LDS is, "Oh, you're Mormon, so you have 5 wives?" Like, it's like, "Bro, that's not" like,
Yeah, yeah.
even the breakdown of the LDS church, I think it's something like not even like 5% of even the LDS, which is
Oh,
like the
yeah.
extreme, not even like 5% of them participate in polygamy. And then LDS is not even part of the Mormon church, and, like, polygamy is not even allowed in the Mormon church. And so it's just like I think people they have to fight that battle, like the battle a couple years ago with the documentary about, like, the whole one in the what is it? Like, Zion in
I
Texas
know, that's
and
exactly what I was thinking of when you said that, 'cause they put a percentage up and it was, like, saying, like, "This is not all
yeah.
LDS families," like, and
Yeah.
it was just like, "What?" But
Yeah.
I'm watching this thinking it is,
Yeah.
like
And then they're not even technically they're like a branch of kind of a Mormon
Mhm.
belief, but they're not Mormons. And so like they already had to battle that and now they have to battle these like
Yes.
loser like chicks that are like I guess horse. I don't know.
Yep. Guess they're
Basically.
horse.
You know what I mean? Like
I
that
know, but
are
they're pulling it off though. I think the reason they've been so successful for as many years as they've been on social media is because it's all about like the aesthetic, right? It's the vibe. They're cute, they looked wholesome on their social media, so no one knew that stuff until it all came
they're like
out,
a
right? Like it
they're like
leaked or
they're
whatever.
like the snake in the Garden of
Yeah.
Eden.
Yes. Yeah. So it's just interesting because, like, when you saw them first off, you're just like, okay, like, just a bunch of housewives, like, no big deal.
Yeah.
They're being cute, they're making money for their families. Like, get it, girl, whatever, hustle. But then it just like everything just started coming out. of the woodwork. And I don't know if they meant for that to happen or if they just would
Yeah.
have continued on and we never would have found out. So I don't know. It's very interesting. It's definitely like a social takeover. Like everyone's kind of freaking out about it because it's just so different.
Yeah.
So
Will
stay
you let me
tuned
know
for more.
because I'm
Yeah.
probably not gonna watch it, so
No.
I'll,
Yeah.
like, watch the cheese from far.
Yeah, it's definitely just for entertainment purposes. We don't condone this type of behavior. Like,
Yeah,
but
no.
there's lots of other good TV. So I'm not trying to make people go out and watch this show if they want to watch other things because there's better entertainment.
For sure. For sure. Well, thank you for chatting with me.
No, it's always so
Hopefully
fun. I
people
feel
find
like
our chat today about our own lives fun.
no, we had public service announcements. Like we were sharing a wealth of information. We want to ensure the
Safety,
safety of our
health.
listeners. Yeah.
Yeah, all the things. Well, thank you for joining, and we will chat next week. We have hopefully some guests being lined up so that we can talk about some fun, interesting things.
Yeah. Good stuff in
And
store.
yeah, we will chat next week. Bye.
Bye.